Thank you very much all for being with us today. So we will be discussing how AI is affecting the general marketing and media world, and how actually the emotions play there. What's the notion of AI when it comes to emotion? Where does the human creativity start, and where does the AI start? So I want to start with a generic question, actually, to start the conversation in our chemistry call that we had. So when you think about your daily work, where do you see the balance between automation and authentic connection? Because you all have different ideas, and so I would want to start with one of the ladies, perhaps Sarah.
Okay, that's a good start. Can you hear me?
Yep, very well.
Well, AI is more of an instrument. It's not about automation itself. And actually, you can say it, okay, you can automate few tasks, which you can. It enhances the efficiency. But at the same time, it's a tool. It's something that you as human choose to use to enhance your efficiency and effectiveness. So I think where it starts is with repetitive tasks, let's say meeting agendas or scheduling, but it stops within the actual authentic communication because we do control it. At the end of the day, it's a tool. It's more of it's like a musical instrument that where the human is actually the composer, and it's not the other way around. So I think that would be my answer.
Okay, thank you so much. So Rowan, if you would want to continue.
Inspiration and the study that complements already our daily work, especially when it comes to native AI. For sure, it is. It has removed a lot of years of legwork, giving us more time to be more creative and coming out with better campaigns, better results. On a personal level, just today, I think, as you mentioned, it is a tool, and your AI is as smart as you feed it. So it adopts in the better the base, so the better you prompt the tool, the better results you get. So, here, your jobs are here to stay.
So one thing I want to draw attention to is how AI is a mean of production. And what do we mean by automation? So I had a conversation with a couple of professors in the US during my research on AI. And one thing that actually stuck to my mind is that the way we coin it as AI, it makes it sound like it's so intelligent that it's going to take over. But it is at the end, production. And there was two comparisons that were drawn. One of them is when Excel, the program came about, how accountants felt like, oh, it's the end for us. But when you think about what Excel did, it's the formulas that automated their work, the things that they kept books for. And then when it comes to the agricultural sector, it's how machines started automating the crop harvesting. AI is the same. It is not actually intelligence more than it is complicated machine learning models. So understanding that it is a tool or a mini production for efficiency and automation is where we draw that comparison. And the way, to me, it is not that AI has to end for emotion to begin, or emotion needs to end for AI to begin when it comes to the process. It's basically that both are intertwined. Because without a prompt, like the one said, without the proper prompt, without the proper question or brief even, we will not get the result that we want.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you are all right in the way that it's a tool. We need to learn how to use it. but at the end of the day, it's just a tool, and human touch is totally different. So I want to from there just like pick up the topic on where does the human touch enter in that. So you've been telling Rowan, like, it's the brief that needs to be fed. So what are the specificities of that? How do you feed a good brief to an AI so that what it creates gets emotions?
Certain the part of the rest in the story which non just is with last week. I thought she like with this is happiness every day instead of fighting with the mom, I take attack. I perfect she answers back. Is she like what but it's what you want to be. They can have a bonus thing you come you. So every day the fighting is like the higher adults. Yesterday she was like, Joanne, you think AI is smarter than me? And she was like, why? She's like, it's very creative the way it's becoming. And the last is it's my problems or fights. Like, okay, perfect, Alma. So this is a glad this means that we're reciting because we are feeding it with content, tying up your tools. Very much like in this. When we feed when we feed the tool, good it says on my body says on how the language when insights that come from us as humans, the results come better. And even when we prompt the tools in terms of campaign optimization, the more prompting, the more layers you add, the better the results you will get. We had a campaign last week that we wanted to try new AI tool, and we optimized 50% of the budget, AI versus not, and we found that the CPI dropped at half its cost using an AI tool. You're looking at the more time and more actually mergers to optimize the living to get so you create ways to stand out during quite relevant comes.
Yeah, I think this is very interesting. And while you are doing the optimization and personalization, so how do you actually integrate the human creativity into that? How do you define the lines around that?
So I realize that doing is the flash of we prompt. The more years like real want good to was here in example of AI using for in the future. The market offer about village the target audience ask what you are looking for, what are tickets, where the markets are, what exactly is the key national point, even in the messaging, the best of it is allowed.
So you need to feed the beast to get the best results out of it. Yeah, so Asad, I'm going to get back to you. You've been telling that you have a 97-page tone of voice, kind of like you've educated the beast with that. So I wonder like how that applied to AI, what happened next? How did you come up with that?
Yeah, so it is still not enough, by the way. So I'm sure, like everybody knows, we work on a ton of ways. We have to stay fun and relevant when it comes to our communications, especially to the, copious amount of segments that we have. We have people who like sports. We have people who like Abdelmajid Abdullah as their favorite artist. It's a very big segment. To use AI in a way that we can accommodate to the thousands of events that we have on the platform to communicate every single minute to every single person when they are in most need of it. We had to spend around 2 months building or codifying the tone of voice into 97 pages of guides and do's and don'ts in order for us to come out with a result that resembles what a copywriter would do. We still have our content creators and CRM reviewing that every time it comes up with a plan. so that we can amend stuff. And one example of those is there are a lot of football matches happening now, and one of the things that we taught the AI to do is, the sports people are into action. That's the kind of communication that talks to them. So in a lot of times, our push notification, for instance, would have from the title like the word goal, but with triple O's and triple A's. But then the AI would also use that when it's communicating a match that has been cancelled, right? Instead of it being transactional and understanding that what is the situation or why we are communicating that. It knows the what and it knows the time, it knows the how, but the why, which is understanding human to human, what is the need, why do customers want to read about this or hear this update? That's where we still interfere.
So is there like real-time moderation behind on the answers or by humans, or is it like completely AI is responding according to your prompts and codes and everything?
No, so there is moderation every day. There is 1 hour every morning where, and we've done this with the team, where we have probably every day we fill in around 200 to 300 rows in a Google Sheet of communications for each segment, for each event. And there is 1 hour where every morning we sit as a team and we just go through to make sure everything is in line.
In line.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So that's the automation side of it. So I want to get back to, or I want to go to ideation side of things. So in imagination, for the ideation, do you use AI, or where does the human creativity start? How do you draw the line in between those?
Well, at Imagination, we embrace the change. We do not actually try to be scared of it or scare anyone of it. And there are trainings among different departments on the use of it, how to use it. Currently, we are using it as more of a benchmark standard. So, for example, if it's a strategic case study, okay, this is what AI could come up with. Can we actually do better? If it's a creative ideation, okay, this is what came out of AI, either with a story or a mood board. Can we actually enhance it, make it better, build it more authentically and add value? So again, we are embracing the tool rather than being scared of it. And we definitely do not build a whole ideation or strategy. It has to be, again, human-oriented with the assistance of AI.
Okay. Okay.
So the whole the high is taking away things. What is doing is definitely optimizing our time, but it's also ritual since it's a new creative ways and coming up with different solutions. Take us back time to utilize it in like it's a work. I mean, it's just saving to optimize, but to be creative, do venues, be great.
Definitely time effective. Definitely time effective. And I feel sometimes as if we have like thousands of minions working for us on different topics. So definitely very effective. But I think we can go a bit more deeper on the cultural side of things, because this was a kind of a conversation we had on our call. So you all have said there are nuances to the Saudi culture where the AI captures and how it does or it doesn't, or the local versions of AI. So could you please share a bit about your thoughts on that? How does the cultural nuance play with AI? Maybe Hassan, you want to start?
So I can give you an example. In other festival, there was this panel discussion about sonic branding, and funny enough, one of the panelists was the director of marketing at Humi, which is an AI company that's leading the way in Saudi, but they still went with an agency to create the sonic branding. Why was humans were case needed to create, when we're trying to promote AI? because the eye might understand that, as a Saudi culture, I will use these kind of instruments to address the Saudi culture in the sonic brand. But we all know music is, highs and lows of emotion. Sometimes when you're listening to music, it makes you feel something. That kind of feeling cannot be created by an AI. You still need the emotion of a person who is heartbroken in order to, write a heartbreak song, or a person who's feeling good about life today and writing an upbeat song. The only thing that separates that from AI is AI will never have life experiences where they go through a breakup or go through bullying, school. Like, these are things that are unique to us, right? Maybe AI will support them, will understand the patterns, but to develop a psychology where it can understand, be empathetic, maybe it will happen in 100 years, but it is not happening now. So it is still humans who can determine what a cultural nuance, or not only a cultural nuance, but also something that connects to the audience, be it a Saudi cultural nuance or something or another country. It is still connects to their emotion.
Yes, and Rawan, you were telling also a similar story around that, I guess.
So again, Yumain created the Arabic chat, where I don't know if any of you tried it, but it is quite impressive the way it picks up the different dialects. The definitely, though, as cultured as AI would like to be, it will never have that authentic results. And I can tell you again, Mathar Festival, we worked with the youth studio to create our booth. It was all about AI and youth, and how youth today is adopting to the technology in general and AI in specific. A lot of manual work had to come into it to basically understand the insights, because again, our AI is moving fast, the world is moving fast, and so is culture. Our culture is also adapting to these new culture things that are coming up.
Absolutely. And you were telling, Sarah, about the authentic storytelling, how AI can be used and where should be human interference. So,
Yeah, so storytelling in general is very related and authentic to the Saudi culture when it comes to narrative building or telling a story about a certain region or an area that you want to enter. And then there is poetry, which is also about storytelling. So there are, and in the Arabic language specifically, there are the power of the word. And you can only communicate it if you feel it. So feeling and authenticity is very important when it comes to storytelling creation. Now, AI can help you, again, as a tool. It matters everything that you give it to. So it can help you with then basically what you feed it, and it just gives it back to you the same. But it can never, as Hassan mentioned, feel anything. It's very similar to music when it comes to authenticity and putting in feelings and choosing the right words. And it's across cultures and all languages, I think.
yeah, so when it comes to culture, emotions, we definitely need human touch into that. So I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah, it can never understand the silent gestures or the hand gestures or coffee gestures, the quiet gestures. That's still not within the AI capabilities.
And my understanding also, Humain has created an AI with reflecting the dialects in Arabic. However, it's still, it just feeds back to you whatever you feed in. So it's not like...
Dialects is one thing and culture is another thing. So, for example, an AI could tell you that part of the main characteristic of a Saudi identity is generosity in services, let's say. But what does generosity actually mean? How is it felt? And karam, how is it changes from one region to another? That's something that the AI still can't.
Cannot
touch.
grasp.
I don't think AI will ever take over authenticity. Yani, at home, we're three sisters. Each one of us has a different dialect, although we have the same mom and dad. It's just where we pick up cartoons, wallah, ونحن, يعني, and stuff. And that's how, and even like I can talk about myself, what culture was to me a year ago is a bit different than what culture is to me today.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely human touch. And I will a bit talk about how AI is working for your teams internally in your companies. So, Sarah, how do you ensure your team to really keep that human touch? Because somebody in one of the conferences had said a very interesting statement, saying that mainly from today onwards with AI, we will not have, let's say, lame work, but we will have a lot of averages because people do not know where to stop using AI. And so, okay, it's back. I didn't hear my voice for a moment. They all start using AI. And at the end of the day, AI is starting to give very standard outcomes. And we're going to actually differentiate the top notch. There's going to be a 10% top notch, and the rest of the cases is going to be 90% average. So in your teams, how do you actually, do you have a guideline? How do you enforce people to use AI or stop using AI, then think authentically?
Well, it really depends on the task. Again, if it's note-taking, meetings, agendas, and be my guest, that's amazing. But if it's, for example, building visitor experiences in certain regions in Saudi, let's say we worked on a project in Al-Baha where we had to build different visitor experiences, let's say targeting Umrah visitors, targeting families, a group of female, we call them the cultural seekers, targeting bikers. So there are different segments and there are diversities that we as knowledgeable people of the local culture can understand that AI cannot grasp yet. So they don't know how, for example, an Umrah visitor would feel exactly and how to track emotionally that journey from Al-Baha to Makkah or Makkah to Al-Baha, for example. So we stop where authenticity begins, just going back to Rawan, and we stop at these nuances. We know when you can actually push with the AI and then when to pull back, especially working with cultural projects or understanding human emotions via journeys, for example.
Okay, thank you. So, Rawan, I recall you've been telling clients loud that we use AI because it's so cost efficient, and you just said we cut the cost by 50% on the optimization. But where do you draw the line there?
So at Publicis, obviously, we are keen on always introducing technology, and part of any team, when we onboard new team members and clients, we constantly push our new tech and AI and so on. However, it optimizes my budget, but I do want the full budget. So we do inform clients. We're very transparent when AI is being introduced. We do push our teams to be as creative as they can be in the tools that bring in technology and involve AI as well. But we're, again, always notifying the clients where we are using this tool, because I'd like to say it, and I'd like to think that we do inform because we believe that the system has errors. So they even, AI even can bring in wrong data sometimes or wrong insights. However, I have to say last week when we worked on that AI project, it was quite interesting that in research and specific answers were a little bit more honest because it was not a human to human. Sometimes you like white lies, but when it's a tool or a prompt, you can say whatever you want and you feel like no one's hearing. So come on, that's using it smartly in your research and insights.
Yeah. So Hassan, do you have anything to add to that? Like internally while using AI, how do you draw the line? Where do you?
So, look, let's be honest about the marketing team, right? Marketing is one of the most difficult spots to hire for. It is either that person has the spark or don't, regardless how much of their experience is. And having that spark usually takes time to find, and with you need to still do business continuity. You need to fill in some gaps. There is no limit to what we can use AI, but at the end we need to understand: is it going to work? That's where testing comes into place. For the first thing I say to the team is, do not go for it or to AI for ideation. When you are trying to come up with ideas, you need to move your brain. We need to sit in a meeting, bring games, as we have a lot of it in Rebook Office, of course. But then there are these moments where, an ad hoc request comes in, where you are in the middle of war at office, and a client requests something that you need to do within the next few hours. There's this, let's say, brain freeze that goes for the first 1 hour. Let's say you're trying to think, where do I start? Ideation becomes okay. You can go prompt, an AI to ask it for a direction, but that you will see if you do that at the end, you will use the outcomes as guides to come up with something more or bigger. So there are no limits after automation, of course. Ideation is also done, but there are times to use it and times to not use it. Not because it might be wrong, it could be act as guidance, but to also keep the authenticity part and keep the human touch in it.
Do you ever use AI for testing, like A/B testing, instead of going to a real group, using AI to test the differences on a campaign? Do you think do you do it, or is it feasible?
We do testing, but not with AI. The testing we do is the outcome is coming from an AI. Yes, there is human touch to it, but at the end, if we are creating communications for, let's say, the music, the Western music events goer, let's say, if we are creating communications for that through an AI tool and whatnot, this needs to be tested on real humans. For me, and I do know some stories or some instances where people do create AI personas from those in order to test with them. But again, you are using a machine learning model against a machine learning model, which usually has an 85% confidence rate, blah, blah, blah. So the outcomes might be also skewed. You need to actually test it on different humans with different psychologies within the same segment in order to come up with a certain result. So we do testing, but it's not using AI.
Mm-hmm. Anything on your side?
So in the youth studio, that was the trial. They wanted to test AI on AI. The results were not very accurate, hence why a lot of manual work was done. At the end of the day, our consumer is a human. It's not AI. So unless it has budget, unless AI starts spending and buying and booking, then it's another story.
Okay.
Yeah, well, again, it depends on the project and how close you are to humans. And one of the projects we worked on is King Salman Park. And it's basically the visitor experience. And we had to come up with few things and speak to the people directly to understand what their thoughts were, what they want in a park. Are they looking for something so green in Riyadh? And you get to hear very interesting answers that I don't think AI is capable of giving you. One of them I remember clearly was one of the ladies asked for a ben every 2 meters. That's not something that you could hear from an AI. Or that they don't want loud music in a park, or that they want animals in a park, which is, you get to hear those authentic human experiences that we may find funny, but it's actually a need. And that's why I think it's really depends on the project. It depends on who are you dealing with. If it's full on human experience, like Vista's experience, you have to speak to the humans. But if it's a consumable product, then maybe AI could come in handy.
Okay, so to wrap up, if you would say just one advice to the audience, like what should they pay attention to when drawing the line in between AI and human touch and the emotions? So maybe Hassan, if you want to start.
Trust your hunch when you are using AI, because and let's separate 2 points about hunch. You notice these days when you are looking at content, whether it's video or images, there is a millisecond where you just know there's something feeling that this is AI. The same goes with judgment about utilization of tools. Always trust your hunch. There are some times, like I said, where ideation could be used with AI. There are some times where it is not. As a marketeer, your role is to actually understand when to use that and when to not use it. That would be the first advice. The second advice is, maybe I'll build up on your mother's story, which is amazing. By the way, my mom still thinks that the phone camera doesn't work because there's no SIM credit. In 20, 30 years, and that's one of my biggest fears, is people or the future generations might be looking at us similar to how sometimes I my mom, you know. If you are not utilizing, testing, risking even using this tool in 20, 30 years, you might be, the person who is looked at as, they don't understand it. So get to it.
Yeah, okay.
I would say befriend your AI, and sometimes we see people are too obsessed with AI or too afraid of AI. Feed the beast to get the best. I love that. We complement one another, and that's the best outcome you'll get.
Wonderful. And Sarah?
I think in very simple words, just consider AI as a mirror.
Yeah.
And it's basically reflects what you give it. It's exactly the more you give it, the more it gives back. So it's not something that would help you bring in something new or out of the box, but it's definitely a matter that could assist you in the thinking process and give you a bit of a direction on how to move forward.
Okay. So thank you very much for today.